Ahoy, and welcome. This is Admiral. Today we're going to get back to some hypothetical bonuses, with a focus on future RAM features or abilities. Of course, RAMs in general are in the best place they've ever been, with higher speed and bonus damage for the more basic versions, and with the clunkiness of RAM Garrison greatly improved with an important quality of life feature from an older update. But I still think there's plenty of opportunity to upgrade your RAM with cool bonuses for new or existing civilizations. This isn't meant to be an exhaustive list, just a highlight of some options that I think would be most fun and interesting. While there are quite a few general bonuses or technologies that affect siege units, or especially siege workshop units, there's actually only a single civilization with a RAM-specific bonus at the moment. Namely the Cuman's earlier access to battering and capped rams. Whereas there are several exclusive bonuses or technologies for other specific siege units, and especially trebuchets. There's also a surprisingly long list of specific bonuses that affect bombard cannons as part of a larger gunpowder bonus. We'll start off with a simple but fun one. Increased RAM garrison capacity from their baseline of 6. As you probably know, infantry garrisoned in a RAM increase both its speed and anti-building bonus by a small amount. I like the idea of another civilization being able to unlock something like the Mongolian ram train, capable of plumed archer speeds, with a little more effort. And this can be done if we double the RAM garrison room from 6 to 12 units. Not only does this increase the RAM's speed to the same 1.2 tiles per second as a loaded Mongol RAM after drill, but it also provides an additional 60 bonus damage per strike, or 120 versus the 60 of a typical loaded RAM. But that is a lot of population to tie up in a single RAM, so as a milder compromise, I'd probably just increase the civilization's garrison room by 4 to 10, which is a more satisfying and less claustrophobic number. On top of that, we could give their rams a 20% base speed increase if we still wanted them to be able to keep up with drill rams when fully garrisoned. Next up is a related idea of ram garrison being more effective. In other words, that garrisoned units make a greater contribution to the ram's speed, bonus damage, or even attack rate. We've already seen how the RAM garrison mechanic greatly favors the use of low base DPS units like Spearline, whereas units with high attack lose that advantage when inside a RAM. I've always thought it would be cool to see higher infantry damage translated to higher RAM damage, even if just for one civilization, or just more effective garrison for infantry generally. Additionally, archer units or villagers that can currently garrison in rams but offer no stat improvements could provide the same speed and damage boosts as infantry. As one example of this, if we made ram garrisoning 50% more effective, a ram garrisoned with the standard 6 units would deal an additional 30 bonus damage and move about 17% faster. My third idea isn't so much a direct RAM bonus as a companion unit with high synergy when paired with rams. Imagine the sappers or siege engineers technologies embodied as a unit that can build and repair rams, among other things. This could be a unique civilization ability for infantry or villagers, or a unique infantry or villager variant. This unit could also make an outsized contribution when garrisoned in a ram, perhaps doubling the normal speed or bonus damage effect of a garrisoned unit, increasing attack rate, slowly repairing the ram while garrisoned, or some similar effect. This seems like a compelling gimmick for a unique infantry unit that could sidestep what is becoming the well-worn path of melee monster or huskarl variant. And I like the idea of a couple more infantry units with a slightly more diversified skill set than bonking, stabbing, or slicing opponents with their weapon of choice. Next idea is rams that deal some kind of specific structural damage on top of their normal attack. We touched on this in another video, but one easy way to do this would be to allow rams to destroy a building's melee, pierce, and/or hidden building armor with each strike, softening it up for your other units, and perhaps an abstraction of creating a breach or smashing through a gate to allow your melee units greater destructive opportunities. The new DLC mechanic of damage over time also comes to mind here, where the previously eternal flames of a building sufficiently damaged might now actually cause its destruction if you don't repair it. Or propagating fractures and ram damage to load-bearing elements might take their toll even after the initial trauma is over. In either case, the defending player could neutralize the ongoing disintegration and restore the structure's integrity and damaged armor by repairing it. Maybe it's too soon to reuse the new damage over time mechanic, but those burning buildings are begging for it. Last and perhaps least is trash rams. That is, rams with no gold cost, which would cost 235 wood if the gold cost was replaced with wood. If needed as a balancing tool, you could even double the gold to wood conversion for a total cost of 310 wood. Regardless, I think this would be one of the easier trash siege units to balance given their melee weakness and lack of range, but of course they would have to miss upgrades, certainly siege ram and perhaps siege engineers. Late game ram spam would be an interesting part of a goldless composition, and I think it would be a reasonable bonus or technology for an American or African civilization that otherwise lacks robust historical justification for particularly powerful siege units, but might more justifiably slide by with cheaper or goldless rams. So those are the 5 ideas I wanted to focus on, however briefly, but of course there are many more, even putting aside viable variations of existing bonuses. Honorable mentions go to rams that can garrison petards.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
이내리 해외 과수로 야파름 담암 야파름 담암
Rams with a charge attack, rams that resist some bonus damage or deal more bonus damage, and rams that accumulate stone while attacking stone structures. And credit to Krakenmeister's Civ Builder website for that last idea.
Release the Kraken!
There are also a few others, like regenerating rams, that could be added, but which, if it were up to me, I'd prefer to defer for the foreseeable future due to the explosion of healing mechanics and the profuse use of regeneration. And there's always the possibility of unique or regional ram variants, as already exist with the armored and siege elephants, but that's another discussion. So those are my thoughts, but what do you think? Do you have other ideas I didn't mention, or new or existing civilizations that you think would be particularly fitting recipients of a certain ram bonus? Let me know in the comments. That's all for today, and thanks for watching. This has been my inner ram fan rambunctiously rattling off random or remarkable plans to ramp up ram spam with reinforced raising and ransacking power. Till next time.